Hey everybody, Dave Floss here from Mentally Imbalanced. And for today's short vid clip, we're going to be talking about a character who gets almost no conversation time, Jonesy the cat from the Alien movie. So stick around. Hey everyone, welcome back. Dave Floss here from Mentally Imbalanced. And like I said, we're going to be talking about one of the characters who gets almost no discussion when it comes to the Alien franchise, and that's Jones the cat. Now, this is not Jonesy the cat. This is my cat named Calcifer. But considering what a likeness he has to Jonesy, I thought it would be appropriate for him to get just a little bit of screen time. We're gonna free him up now and let him go. Here you go, buddy. And now let's actually get to the topic of our conversation, and that's Jonesy the cat. Now, why do I want to talk about Jonesy? He ultimately doesn't serve any major purpose in the Alien movie. But I think you're wrong. You see, I think Jonesy is specifically responsible for the death of everyone on the Nostromo. So let me break it down just a little bit. When we first meet Jonesy, we're not even sure where he came from. We don't see him in any of the hypersleep chambers when the Nostromo crew wakes up, and then suddenly he's just out and about. Now, this isn't really important if you think about when they bring Kane back from the derelict ship. And he's been impregnated, we don't know it yet, but he's been impregnated with a chest burster. He's got the face hugger on his face, they bring him back in, and ultimately, and hopefully no spoilers here, the movie's over 40 years old, so if you haven't seen it, shame on you. A chest burster erupts from his body. Now, Jonesy was not specifically responsible for that death. That was Kane's fault for deciding to go into a ship filled with eggs and stick his head right over one of them. I mean, what did you think was going to happen? But if you think about from that point forward, most of the deaths are a direct result of Jonesy the cat being on the ship. And the real question is, why the hell is there a cat on the ship in the first place? So let's talk about the first Jonesy-related death, which is Brett, who I'm attempting to cosplay here with my nice Nostromo mechanic jacket. So Brett is searching the ship with Ripley and Parker. And at one point, they come across a signal on their scanner. Ultimately, that signal ends up being Jonesy the cat, who somehow actually got away from everybody, found her way into the guts of the ship, and locked herself in a locker. I mean, we know the xenomorph is impressive, but let's give some shout-outs to Jonesy the cat for managing to do that one. Now, ultimately, Brett and the rest of the crew let the cat go. Not necessarily on purpose, but just because they realize it's not the little alien creature they're looking for, it's just the cat. And here's where the first death happens. Brett breaks apart from the group because we all know that the best thing to do when you're hunting an unknown alien organism is to break away from the rest of your party and go search alone. Ultimately, Brett finds Jonesy the cat hiding behind some equipment, and the alien xenomorph, who now, unbeknownst to anyone, has grown into a larger than a man-sized creature, grabs Brett, and, well, we don't really see much. We just hear some screams, and then we hear Parker talk about how he was dragged into an air duct. And thus, Brett is gone. Now, I'm going to pause for a moment because the other thing that I kind of found ridiculous, and it's only because of my absolute love for Alien that I think I'm allowed to say this, is not only having a cat on board a ship seemed pretty ridiculous, but a ship the size of the Nostromo. So I have my own cat, and I'll tell you, sometimes I will spend an hour searching for that guy in just my own home. Right, about 1,000 square feet of space, but whether it's on top of a cabinet, under a couch, hiding on a chair, just at the point of the center of the table where even when you lean down you can't quite see him, cats can be very elusive. And to think that we would allow Jonesy the cat to basically have open run of an entire Class M star freighter seems a little bit ridiculous. How would you ever find this cat? Let's proceed. Now, we fast forward a little bit through the movie, and at this point, Dallas has gone into the air ducts, and he's been sucked up by the xenomorph. We don't really know what happens to him. There's no blood, so we don't know where'd he go, what? But he's gone. And thus, when we finally find out that Ash is an android, Ripley and the 2 surviving members of the crew decide, let's get the hell out of Dodge.
We'll take our chances in the shuttle. Blow up the ship.
So Parker and Lambert go off to get the supplies they need, while Ripley is prepping the Nostromo for self-destruction. But here's where things get weird. Suddenly, Ripley hears Jonesy the cat and deviates from all of her course actions to go get Jonesy. Now, a couple jump scares ensue, and she finally gets the cat and gets him in a carrier, but in the meantime, while worrying about Jonesy, Parker and Lambert meet a gruesome fate from the alien itself. So now let's jump forward all the way to the end. Ripley gets Jonesy the cat and runs back to the derelict, unable to stop the self-destruct, and with only moments to spare, launches her ship away from the Nostromo as it explodes. But here is where Jonesy ultimately was still at a little bit of fault. And that's because in the time that she had to go back, grab Jonesy, try to stop the self-destruct, because of all the time that she lost trying to find this ridiculous cat, the alien xenomorph was able to hide itself on the escape pod. Now, obviously, Ripley survives the encounter, goes into hypersleep, and brings Jonesy with her. What's even more interesting is that we seem to gloss over the fact that while Ripley was frozen for 57 years between Alien and Aliens, so is Jonesy, making him quite possibly the absolute oldest living cat ever. And yet, no mention of that in the Aliens franchise. No mention of how one little creature, not the xenomorph, ultimately resulted in the death of so many crew members. So ultimately, Ripley has to take all the blame for what happened in the Alien movie, while Jonesy gets off scot-free. Well, there's our little rant about Jonesy the cat in the Alien movies. If you've enjoyed this video, go ahead and click subscribe right now on our YouTube channel. And don't forget to stay tuned for the Mentally Unbalanced podcast, which will also be featured on YouTube and Facebook. Until then, remember, in space, no one can hear you scream. But if you have a cat, well, you're kind of shit out of luck.